Well, Mr. Grant, we haven't heard much from you lately. Um, what are you doing there? You
Mm,
look like you've got some anchor babies.
yeah, the cats think I'm a cat bed.
Uh huh. Boy, this is unusual. We've got both cats, and they aren't fighting. I wonder why. Maybe Mia doesn't know that Otter's up there on your shoulder.
Oh, I think Mia knows she's
Does
there.
she? She's just gonna hold her ground,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so long as Otter doesn't bother her.
Yeah. Uh huh. Heidi ho, my peeps! Pardon this weird camera angle that sort of cuts me off at the bottom. Um, we are making an American goulash tonight. This was a special request. One of you had sent me in a comment, sent me a request for making this stuff. Now, I didn't know that it was called American goulash at the time. I wasn't quite sure the viewer was talking about, but when I went and read about it, I realized it's something that my parents would make when we were kids. So essentially, what it is elbow macaroni like that is cooked in a sauce of ground beef and diced onion and a couple of cans of crushed tomatoes and a can of chunky vegetable, or actually any. I'm using chunky vegetable, but you can use any pasta sauce. So you'll want 2 cans of the crushed tomatoes, and 1 can of this should be enough. So we're gonna go ahead and cook that together, but it's really simple. You dice up your onion, you brown it with your ground beef, drain off whatever fat is in there, put your tomato products in, and cook that for, you know, simmer it for maybe 20 minutes along with some spices. I like to use spices that I get at the Dollar Tree, an Italian spice mix, granulated garlic, anything that's heavy on the basil flavoring is very, very good in this. Once you've cooked that for a little while and got that all hot and bubbly, about 15-20 minutes, then what you want to do is add your pound of uncooked macaroni to this sauce, and then I'd start with 3 cups of water. You want kind of a soupy mixture. Cook that until your elbow macaroni is cooked kind of al dente. You don't want it really mushy or anything. You may want to add a little bit of water. You just kind of, how you do pasta. You just keep checking it after about 8 minutes or so. You let it get to the done phase. You can add a Parmesan cheese to this later if you want, or even some mozzarella on top would be nice. There's lots of ways you can doctor this up. It makes a huge amount of food. It would easily feed eight hungry people. I mean, that's how much food there is, especially if you do my favorite thing, would be to put it on top of a bed of greens of some kind. I think a shredded cabbage that had been dressed with, say, balsamic vinegar and some olive oil, just that, a bed of that with a couple big scoops of this stuff on top would be wonderful. So let's go into the kitchen and I'm going to show you how to make it. Heidi ho! Okay, here we go. I've opened up my premium ground beef from the 99-cent store. I'm going to go ahead and put this into the pan. I'm going to cook everything in this one nice big kind of stew pot or soup pot. So I've got that thrown in. Then I went ahead and diced up. This is I would have called this about a small or medium to small onion. You could certainly use 2 onions if you like it more oniony than what a small onion will give you. So all of this is just going to go in here. I'm going to go ahead and brown everything together, and then we'll come back and add the tomato products and the spices. Okay, so I've browned the hamburger and onion. I've drained the grease off. Now I'm going to add my tomato products. The pasta sauce, and then both of the cans of crushed tomatoes. Let me go in there. Okay. I'm so OCD, I'm probably going to end up rinsing these a little bit and making that be my liquid so I get every little bit out of there. All right, so here we've got, this is beginning to heat back up again. You don't want to boil it, you just want to kind of keep it at a low simmer, real low simmer for about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. Let me show you my spice mix that I made. Here's my dry spices. I used 3 tablespoons of basil leaves, 2 tablespoons of parsley flakes, 2 tablespoons of paprika, a tablespoon of the garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of the black pepper. So that's what's in here, and I'm going to dump that in. Okay. And lastly, I have 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. So that is what we're going to season it with. At the very end, I will adjust for saltiness and add salt or pepper if I feel like I need to. But I think we're doing okay with the mix we have in here. I like things spicy. I like to really be able to taste the spices, so I may have used more spice than you normally would. Just adjust the spices to what you like. And, you know, play around with it. You can do whatever you want. For a goulash, though, you probably want to make sure you have some paprika, because that's sort of the defining taste for goulash is a paprika, so make sure you add that. Okay, now I'm going to let this simmer for a bit, and then I will come back, add some water, and add that elbow macaroni. Okay, the sauce is coming along nicely. It's cooked down a little bit over the course of the past 10 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is add the pasta. I'm going to start off by adding about, that's about, maybe I'll add just a little bit more. All right, that's about 1 pound of pasta, of the elbow macaroni. Give this a little stir. I think that's going to be plenty. Now I'm going to add a couple of, that's about 2.5 cups of water. See, I rinsed it out so nicely. Now I'm going to give this a little stir. Get that pasta down in there. I think this looks like it's going to need some more water. So I'm going to go ahead, take my pan back over to the sink. Just going to fill this with water. And let's see here. There we go. Okay, so we ended up putting, I'd say, about 4 cups of water in there. That looks about the right consistency, because when that macaroni swells up, it'll fill up all that space in there, and that'll be fine. I'm going to set the rest of this pasta aside. I'll make something else, maybe a cold pasta salad or something for tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let this cook down again. I've got it on a really low heat. See that? It's not high at all. I want it to cook slowly and cook into the sauce, and I will come back and show you the finished product. Okay, so our macaroni has cooked. It looks really good. It looks a little soupy at this point, but as this cools, this will thicken up. And so, you know, you don't want it to be so thick that it's going to solidify when it cools off. So this is about right. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this sauce a little taste. Okay, it is perfect. It doesn't need any salt. The spices are are nicely balanced. However, this is very tomatoey. And it has a real, you know, if you like your food with no sweetness at all, then you're going to love this. However, I like a little sweetness, so I'm going to add, I know that seems like a ton of sugar, but this is a huge pot too. So this is about, I'd say, I just dumped 3 tablespoons. Oops, I just dropped my phone. Okay, I'm back. That's about 3 tablespoons of sugar in this rather large pot. And I'm going to give it a nice big stir. And now I'm going to give it another taste. Okay. All right, that's perfect. It's not too sweet, but it does have just a little bit of sweetness to it. And I learned that trick from my friend Jan Creson. Go and look at her cooking videos if you haven't. She is the queen of cooking. So anyway, I'm really liking this. I'm going to put some in this bowl here, let it cool, and then we're going to let Grant do a taste test. Alrighty, this is cooled off enough, and I think it won't burn Grant's tender little mouth. And now, he had this last week, so I'm going to ask him if it tastes as good as last week or if I messed up somehow. Here you go, honey.
Oh, wonderful.
Give a little taste test.
Very good.
Is it the same or a little different, or can you even tell?
I don't know. There might be a little bit sweeter.
Okay, it is sweeter because I did add sugar this time.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need to. But
I know. Without it, it has a very acidic tomato taste, so I probably added way too much sugar. I added about 3 tablespoons to that pot, so I should probably back it down to maybe 1.5 tablespoons.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, you heard it from Grant. A little too sweet, so if you use sugar at all, back it way off than what I used. Although me having a sweet tooth, I'm going to love it. Thank you, honey. Bye-bye, peeps.
Okay, bye-bye.